And good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome. And if you're looking at my face, I'm looking at your face. We looking at faces of the game. I am Richard the Razor Ewing. He's Matt, none the wiser wise. And if you're watching us right now, you got your game face on. But Matt, you know me. Before I get started, I got to go to the questions.
Get them.
So if you're trying to figure out how to get the new design on your face mask for COVID, you're on the wrong podcast. And if you're trying to figure out how to get that new arrangement for that kitchen, for that apartment you just moved into, you're on the wrong podcast. But if you're trying to get insight into Bay Area sports from a spectator's view, you just put your game face on. And if you're trying to get insight into sports on a national level, once again, you put your game face on. I'm going to say this again. I'm Richard the Razor Ewing. He's Matt, none the wiser wise. Matt, what do we got?
What don't we have? For me, Olympics, full swing. Mm-hmm. So I'm glued to the TV. Gigantes doing the thing, doing it against the Doyers, doing it against the Astros.
You see me repping.
I see you repping. The Warriors had their draft. That came up. We have NFL. The players are going back to camp. And, some not so great news. But I got a little, someone slid me a little, just a little secret, a little industry secret about sports betting. Because we live in the San Jose Bay Area, allegedly, Evander Kane has been caught up in betting against the San Jose Sharks. And a little birdie told me, allegedly, he's doing it over at betonline.ag. So if you're into sports betting, BetOnline is where you should go to win your money today, like allegedly Evander Kane, the San Jose Sharks, has been doing. And we don't know if it's true or not, but whether it's live betting during games or futures for who you think is going to win the championship, BetOnline has all the latest odds, news, and information for all your online sports betting needs. So I encourage you, visit the website today or use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So before the next big game, head on over to BetOnline and start playing today. BetOnline, your sports book experts.
Wow, that was.
I don't know if it's true. I don't know. Allegedly,
that was. You've done that promo. Look, you've done that promo several times. I don't think nothing was more terrific than that one, man. That was just bomb, dude. That was. Dad, you said your boy might had his hands in a cookie jar. BetOnline.ag. Woo, that was just okay. Look, and I'm here right now. We do the promos, and the other podcasts do the promos too. They're not going to do it like that. Okay?
I don't know. I do not know. It may or may not be true. And listen. I mean, here's the thing. You want to bet? Like, if I'm going to go bet, I'm going to go bet on my teams, which I'm not even a member of those teams. Right. I'm not on the San Francisco 49ers, although I'm willing to take offers and be on their payroll. I'm not on the Golden State Warriors. I'm not on the San Francisco Giants. I'm not on the San Jose Sharks. But when I bet and I put my money down, and when I do it, I do it at betonline.ag. But when I do bet, I never bet against my own team.
Right.
I never bet against the Warriors. I never bet against the Giants. I just don't do it. So to be a member on that team and allegedly bet against your own team, I couldn't imagine. Like, I just could not imagine doing that.
Now, I tell you something. I think when it comes down to it, is they're even using the phrase where they're saying they're calling Evander Pete Rose. It's like, but the thing.
But Pete Rose never bet against his own team. He bet that his team was going to win every single time.
Yeah.
He never bet against his own team, or he never even bet on his team.
Okay, but this is the problem. The problem I have with all of this is that, first of all, we don't really know if it's true. Apparently, his wife came out and she really hates him right now. I guess they're going through a messy divorce, and Evander's got his hand. He's got some dirty stuff going on. He had a situation where apparently he was with a woman and she produced a kid, and he said he was going to pay her $3 million to abort the kid, and she went and did it, and he wouldn't pay, and apparently he was seen in Canada, after this whole thing with his wife, and he was with a girl there. And apparently they're saying that he's got a problem with his money now because of all the gambling debts he's accrued. And my whole deal is this, is that, I mean, on one end, I already know that, first of all, I don't know if he did it or not, but if he did, it's just downright wrong, okay? And the whole situation with the woman, with the baby, dude, you just sunk to a new low, if that's what you did, okay? But this is the problem I have. The problem I have is this. I don't see this to be any different than the situation what happened with steroids in baseball. Because this is the problem. Baseball, the NFL, the NBA, okay, and all the major sports franchises, they all jumped on with sports betting. This is not the last time we're going to hear about this.
No, it's not. And you're right. I mean, you look at it. I mean, you look at the stands, the stadiums, it's all over the place. In the All-Star game, what was it? I don't even know the sports book, but if you hit the sign, which the A's player hit the sign, they were given like $100,000, something ridiculous, at the stadium. Like this is going to be something that's going to be a continual problem. We're going to hear more and more about it. And we live in a day and age where you can't get away with anything. Everything do is monitored and tracked. So you're not going to get away with anything for very long. So we're going to probably hear a lot more about these types of things with betting going on within the sports. And to me, it scares me because I hope it doesn't ruin the integrity of sports.
Well, no, the integrity of sports was already ruined, sir. It was.
I know. I like to be optimistic about it, though.
Yeah. We all want to be optimistic. I'm like you. I'm genuine. In other words, I want to be able to turn my TV on and know that some guy is not paying some other guy, okay, to miff a catch or throw an interception.
But we're talking about pros, right? We're talking about pros right now. But now think about it in the collegiate level in college sports. Now that players are able to make money off their representation.
Yeah.
Think about the offers that they're going to get from sports books, to kind of shave the line here and there.
Yeah, see, this is the thing.
Crazy. It's going to get crazy.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I was on board with college players getting paid, okay? Because I felt like, you know what? The NCAA has been making billions of dollars off these students, and it's about time that they start getting what they should have got decades ago. But you're right. Somebody's going to come in there and taint it, okay? Mm-hmm. And you're starting to see it already. But I think to that point, I believe it began when the Raiders went to Vegas. That's where it began.
Well, that may have been the genesis of it. That may have been the genesis because the NFL is fully bought into aligning themselves with whatever the sports book is that they're
but
DraftKings or whatever.
But I'm saying the NFL is the first premier franchise to put itself in the Lions Den. Okay, and the Lions Den is Vegas. Okay.
Well, the Golden Knights did it first and won it.
The Golden Knights did it first, but the Golden Knights aren't the Raiders. Let's keep it real. The Raiders are an international brand. You put an international brand in the Lions Den of sports betting. That was the beginning of the avalanche that was to come. But my whole deal is this. With all that going on, okay, you couldn't help but to expect something like this with Evander Kane eventually happening. And it just so happened it's him. And we don't know how many others.
It's not just him. Statistics would tell you, you got so many players, 1% of them are betting, right? Or whatever. Right. So it's not just him. And that's what's scary. That's what's really, really scary about it. Hey, if he would have, put that shot on goal, may they have scored that goal and won instead of losing the game. That he was betting against his own team. I don't know. Like, that's what's really, really scary and disheartening about it,
Yeah.
So,
and by the way, this was a team that was contending for the Stanley Cup. And it makes you wonder, it's like, wait a minute, how did they lose that? That was a game 7. Okay, look.
I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, I know you don't. Nobody does.
There's a ton of conspiracies out there in this world.
Right,
I don't need to start sports conspiracy, because then I would have no free time for anything else.
No, and we're losing time. So let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk about MLB in the Bay Area. Here we are. It's August, and the 2 Bay Area teams are still at the top. Okay, it's like in other words, there was talk that, hey, you know what, this whole thing in the West is not real. It's a camouflage for what's real. Eventually, this will go away, and it's like, okay, wait a minute, we're in August now. The A's are still atop of the AL West.
No, they're actually 4.5 games behind Houston.
Oh yeah, that's right, because they lost.
Right,
but they're
in great position for the wild card. They're in great position to make the playoffs.
Okay, and I'll tell you something. Come playoff time for the A's, that's a team you don't want to see in the playoffs. Nothing personal. I mean, it could get nasty against them. It could
with either of these Bay Area teams. It could get ugly, because they're both highly competitive teams that can pitch and play defense. So
but I'm saying, you look at history in the AL West during playoffs. The AL teams, whenever they play the A's, they have to squeak it out. In other words, they don't just beat up the A's and win. It's like, no, it gets dicey towards the end.
No, the A's are always a scrappy team. They're always going to be a tough out.
Right.
But that American League is no joke. I mean, you got Houston, you got the Chicago White Sox, you got the Tampa Bay Rays, you got the Boston Red Sox,
right, and
they are all playing great baseball. So it is pretty scary. And then you got the Yankees there that just totally retooled at trade deadline and picked up some big bats and big names. So
what about the sell-off of the Cubs? Oh my God, they just sold everything, didn't they?
Well, yeah, it was heading that direction, and thankfully they did, because the Giants got a huge right-handed bat.
That's right,
and Kris Bryant. And that's really going to help.
That's Kris Giant Bryant. Okay,
Kris Giant Bryant for sure.
We got to retool that. Okay,
and he goes deep in his first game. So that's totally encouraging. The Giants did make a move that needed to happen. They didn't give up a lot for it, so that was even better. They didn't give up their Joey Barts. They didn't give up, their any of their young good talent prospects that should be here in the next 2 or 3 years. So that's really, really exciting. And they got that big bat, and the way they're swinging the bats to get a bat like that, on top of what they've already been doing, they're the highest team in the major leagues in home runs this year, is awesome. Like, let's go. It's time for the pennant race run. It's time for the playoffs. Bring on the Doyers, bring on the Padres. We got you, suckers.
Okay, but it also shows that the one thing that everybody was talking about at the beginning of the season, and these two guys were kind of being, the butting of jokes. And that was Gabe Kapler and Farhan Zaidi. And now, guess what?
They're geniuses.
Farhan showed you why he's Farhan Zaidi. Okay, that pickup of Bryant, that was classic Farhan Zaidi. This is stuff he did when he was in LA. The stuff he did when he was in Oakland. Okay, and if you expect anything less than that, you don't know the guy. Okay.
And he did not mortgage a lot. I mean, there was trades out there. Kimbrel was out there. Max Scherzer was another one on there. And those kind of players were going to require selling the farm, giving up your big names down in the lower levels. And with the Giants, we're not willing to do that. And I'm thankful that they weren't. I'm thankful that we still have a stockpile of players ready to come up. And so he didn't make the move for the Scherzer or the Kimbrel or anything like that, but he did go out and get Kris Bryant, and he got, in my opinion, for the 2 players that they sent over, it was a great deal.
Well, I'll tell you something else. To your point, that you talk about stockpile, that is what's going to finite the Giants run the playoffs, is that stockpile. Because once they get in the playoffs, Kapler is just going to release the 4 wins, okay? Because that's what he's doing right now. He's kind of holding back the 4 wins. And the stockpiling no players, he's going to let them all go. So come on, we're in playoff time. Everybody plays. Okay, now you're going to see what they actually have as far as depth is concerned. We're going to stop MLB and move to my guys, the 49ers. I got to do it. Because
you're heading to the 49ers. Here's a scary thing.
Okay.
The Indianapolis Colts, there's talks of trading to get a Mr. Jimmy Garoppolo from the San Francisco 49ers. So there's that out there in the atmosphere.
Do you kind of get the sense, Matt, NoneTheWiser, that, these guys, they got to have talking points? Is that what this is about? That's what I'm thinking, because they got to talking about, this is the one that really made me laugh. It really did. Trey Lance is going to be over center week 1.
Well, if they trade Jimmy Garoppolo, he will be.
No.
This is the one I love. Oh, what are the odds we're going to see Trey Lance game 1? Not maybe starting, but on the field. And it's like, yo,
God, come on,
rookie. Like we have a quarterback, we have a line, we have running backs, we got wide receivers, and to top it off, we have a frightening defense that's going to be back and healthy. Why are we making this big old hoopla over a guy that has not taken 1 snap in the NFL that we don't know? I mean, he may be the greatest thing to come, but let him figure it out. Let him learn the NFL.
By the way, Trey Lance threw an interception today in practice in the red zone.
Great. Let him learn that. That's the time to do it. That's where you learn it. And then I see videos of Trey Lance throwing it 60 yards down the field. Hey, I saw Tim Tebow catch a touchdown.
Okay, but to hear local, radio talent, if you will, talking about that Trey Lance is going to be on week 1 and Garoppolo's done. I'm like, dude, you must be a millennial. You have to be to say something like that. It's like, dude, I'm going to tell you something. I have, in all my years of watching the NFL, I have never seen a starting quarterback in the league take a team all the way to the Super Bowl, and then in the next 2 seasons, he don't even start. I've never seen that. You tell me one time that that's happened.
Or like everybody's calling for his head. I do not understand it. I don't like. I'm not the biggest Jimmy Garoppolo fan. Like his game doesn't. I mean, overly do it for me. But he's a great quarterback. He's a good quarterback.
He's a very good quarterback. And I tell you something. The one thing about him that I admire is that Garoppolo does the thing that quarterbacks who have succeeded done in the past. They take risks.
He's a big risk taker. He is.
If you are going to make it in the NFL, okay, you can't throw everything that's dialed in. Sometimes you got to look at the defense and go, okay, you know what? I know this is dialed in, but that defensive back is a little too close up next to the free safety at this point. I know the speed of my receiver. If he gets behind him, I'm making that
go. Yeah. Jimmy puts it in some of the tightest windows I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Some of the scariest windows and coverages that I've ever seen. And he puts the ball there, and he does it because he trusts himself. He believes in himself. He believes in his guys.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I'm not against Trey Lance. I tell you something. I remember when we had this discussion before they made the pick, and I told you who I thought they were going to go for, and you told me who you thought. And I made it very clear. I said, look, I'm not mad at you. Trey Lance is not a bad pick. He's not. Because you look at the guy's numbers in college, he was foolproof. I mean, come on. Anytime you have a season will you throw 28 touchdowns with no interceptions? Okay, look, you don't say no to that. Okay, you know. So I get that, but understand, guys, the practice was just that. It's practice, okay? And they're in jerseys and shorts. They didn't have no pads on, and it's not week one. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I played football, and I was a left linebacker. And I played at junior college level. And I'm gonna tell you, what was always different when you do walkthroughs and you do practice with no pads. Hey, it's a whole lot different when you're on a regular, when you're in the middle of the season, okay, and everybody's playing. I'm gonna tell you something, guys that were doing stuff in preseason, they weren't doing it in the regular season. Okay, the regular season was real. Okay, look, in the regular season, guys were competitive, man. I see dudes getting laid out. I saw, guys who used to be able to make the catch, now they're not. Okay, it's like, hey, what happened? What happened was, hey, it's competitive now.
That's absolutely. And do you want to take your number one draft pick and trade away Jimmy Garoppolo just because you got Trey Lance and you think he's the future to take all your snaps in his first year with this team? Mm-mm. Like, it's not like this is a rebuild. Like, right. You got a team to get to the Super Bowl, and you want to put a rookie out there to earn his lumps and make his mistakes and go through all the growing pains that he's going to go through as a rookie quarterback. You want to do that right now with this team when you actually have a quarterback that can run it for you till he's ready? Because you put him in there, you're going to destroy him mentally. He may never be a good quarterback because you threw him in there too early and he wasn't ready. Not that James Wiseman for the Warriors was the same, but we saw how overwhelmed at times he looked in his rookie season. Do you want that for your QB1? When it's not necessary? Like, if the Niners had no other choice and they were forced to play Trey Lance because they didn't have another good quarterback, that's one thing. But you got a guy.
I just got to throw this out there. This is proof that things in sports change quickly. Okay, this just came over just now. Former ace reliever. Toronto has reportedly traded 2011 National League Reliever of the Year, John Axford, to Milwaukee for $1.
For $1?
$1.
Dang,
one
man.
stinking dollar.
Like, that hurt. That would hurt me personally.
That's just disrespectful. Okay, that's just okay. Hey, what does my man say? Don't be disrespectful.
Well, hey, I mean, I guess it's no worse than back in the day when they would trade players for like goats or horses or, livestock or something.
We ain't talking about, wait a minute, come on, man. One thing, that's why I love you, brother. You always see the bright side of everything. But come on, let's keep it real, man. We ain't talking about back then.
No, I understand.
About now. That was just...
Yeah. You trade me for $1, I'm going to be pretty pissed off. You trade me for a candy bar, I might be in a better mood. But that's gonna hurt my feelings a little bit.
Yeah, and by the way, that candy bar, it better be good tasting candy bar too.
Best chocolate in the world, top grade cocoa.
Okay, so we're gonna move on because I gotta talk about the Golden State Warriors and trade deadline. And the reason why I gotta do this is because the Warriors haven't really done anything, and everybody's talking about it. And there's been a lot of moves that have been done. You have CP3 signing a 4-year deal for $120 million to the Suns. And we're talking about those other players, but the juiciest one is the one that's getting done right now as we speak. And that's the one in Golden State. Because your boy, Steph, 4-year extension, $215 million.
It's about time. It was going to get done.
And the fact is, you have Chris Paul, you got all the way to the finals, signed for 120, and then you got Steph. Got 3 titles beneath his belt, 2-time MVP. Oh, and by the way, ESPN's best NBA player this year. Signed for $215. Which one is more valuable? Oh, I don't think we need to have that discussion, do we?
No, but no disrespect to Chris Paul.
No disrespect for Chris
at
Paul.
all.
Chris Paul,
but there's levels to
Chris
this.
Paul this year had a phenomenal season. No question about it. I tell you something. My respect for Chris Paul went up after this season because I felt like, okay, he displayed to me that he knew the game. He displayed that if he has the right pieces in play, he can orchestrate a team and get them to the promised land. And that's why I do this to him. I say, hey, all right. But I am saying this year, the Warriors have just a psychology hold on the NBA. It is. It's psychology. It's like you don't. It's like they don't know what Clay's going to do. They have a couple of pieces in play. Steph is Steph. Dre's going to be Dre. And right before the season starts, it's kind of like what Michael Jordan had on, the NBA Eastern Conference. It's like when he retired for the third time, and there was talk that he was going to come back a fourth time and play for the Wizards. I'll never forget what's the name from Orlando Magic. He said, "Oh no!" He said, "Oh no!" He said, it's like psychologically, it's like Mike just had something over everybody. It was like the fact that he was going to play for the Wizards. Everybody was like, "Oh!" And by the way, when he was with the Wizards, he still was averaging 29 points a game.
Oh yeah, no. I mean,
it was like, dude, it was like, and so it's like you look at the West. Russell Westbrook is going to be a Laker. That's done, and
that's scary.
Not to me.
That's scary to me, man.
No,
they were because the one thing the Lakers did not have was a point guard.
Okay,
now they have a point guard and they have a guy that can create his own offense.
Oh my God! Why don't you just roll into wheelchairs for these guys? They're all
old. Man. He how could you say he's washed up? Look what he did last year. I didn't say he was washed up.
I didn't say he was washed up.
What wheelchair does that man need?
Okay, I'm talking about. This is the thing. Wait until the middle of the season, right after the All-Star break. Okay, that's when that's when all of a sudden all these supposed stars they got. Let's see where they at after that.
We'll see. No, I mean you're absolutely right. Who knows? That's the unknown. But we'll see. The Warriors are just a huge question mark. Like you look at the Warriors' future right now, and it's a shadow.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it is. Listen, they don't know what James Wiseman's going to be. All right.
I'm worried about that.
They know what they don't know what Clay's gonna be coming back.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
What do you mean? Wait a minute. He's not. I mean, you can't tell me he's gonna 2 years off. He's gonna come back and just be Clay of old.
Clay is the one person I'm not worried about.
I'm not worried about him either. I think. But he's not going to play 40 minutes a game.
He ain't supposed to.
In the season.
He's not supposed to. The only thing Clay needs is support, and you'll get it. Okay? I'm telling you what I'm telling you right now. I'm not a betting man. Never will be because I don't gamble. But I tell you one thing. I got more faith in what the Warriors put on the floor than the Lakers. I do. I just feel like when I look at the two, it's like
Curry can't do everything.
Okay. Who?
Steph can't do everything.
I'm not talking about Steph.
Clay's going to give you what,
I guarantee.
What are the other pieces, though? I mean, what are the other pieces? They have no bench.
Okay, but why? Oh, be careful. Okay, be careful. Because this is the thing. I wouldn't be surprised if Myers and company are right now putting together something where now all of a sudden the bench is okay.
No, absolutely. But where the Warriors are right now, they are not the top tier.
Guess who they might bring back? Guess who they might bring back?
Andre Iguodala is what I've heard.
No, I'm not talking about Iguodala. They do that. That's extra. Watch and see if they don't bring back Marquise Kris.
Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Well, Kris is a big boy.
Okay. Like I said, I'm fine with that. But, I mean, at some point, I have to be realistic about the Warriors. The big three, Steph, Dre, Clay, they wanted veteran experience to fill out, right? The Warriors maybe couldn't find that deal out there. What they do, they took their draft picks. They drafted two great players, in my opinion, in Kuminga and Moses Moody. Thank you. So they did that. They don't have a ton of money to spend. They don't have a ton of like options. They maybe a sign and trade with Kelly Oubre type of deal. I don't know, but it's not looking like super great at this point.
Well, it's not supposed to. See, that's
but you're telling me they're better than the Lakers, and the Lakers right now are set up with a big three, or they're better than Brooklyn that's got a big three over there.
The big three has to stay healthy for an entire season.
Okay? Absolutely, it does. But that's right. For any team. That's the Warriors too. The Warriors aren't getting any younger with their stars. Their stars getting older. They're going to get injured too.
Of the two franchises, who's been hurt sooner than the other?
Both. The Warriors have sucked for 2 years because of injuries.
No,
the Lakers just won in the bubble.
Okay, AD got hurt this year.
Okay, so they missed that, but they just won in the bubble.
But the bubble is
playoffs in 2 years.
The bubble is 2 years ago. I'm saying physically, when I look at the Lakers, I don't see them going past a full season without injuries.
Okay, so then let's take the Lakers off the table. You still got Utah to contend with. You still have Phoenix now.
Utah. Okay, so don't bring up Utah because everybody knows Utah. They got a glass jaw. Okay, come on. Okay,
their star player was hurt.
Now, Phoenix. On the other hand, I can see that. I can see the contention in Phoenix. Okay,
here's the thing. Like, in my opinion, like the Warriors are gonna have to work some magic. And I'm not saying that they can't, but as it sits right now, to me, a 5-6 seed getting into the playoffs.
I know. I see the Warriors going high as a 4.
With what they got now and whatever else, and we'll see. I mean, it's still super early. We'll see what some of these.
Still super early. And with that note, as you probably know, man, we got to go because we only get 30 minutes. So
I was just getting started, man.
I know, me too. And I love the back and forth. You know that.
We didn't even get to Olympics. We didn't even get to Simone Biles. We didn't get to Olympics. Nothing, man.
We should have talked about Simone because that girl's got heart. Okay.
I would call it courage. Like that.
Courage comes from the heart.
It was absolutely. I'm not saying, but it's a very courageous thing. Mm-hmm. I'm really, really interested to hear more into the story, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I think also it speaks to something that the conscious awareness of the planet is actually becoming more aware of, that mental health, not just in sports, but in everyday life, is something that can no longer be ignored. Okay. This is real. It's affecting us every day in our everyday lives, and it's causing a strain. Okay. And when people like Simone Biles step up and meet the challenge like that, it sends awareness to the powers that be that, hey, we really need to focus on this because this is a major problem. Okay. So anyway, I gotta go.
People matter. If you're struggling, you need help out there, GameFace, we got you.
Yeah.
Watch us, we'll entertain you. Shoot us a message. You need something, we got you here at GameFace.
Yes. And hats off to Simone Biles for stepping up. Okay. So anyway, Matt, I love you, my brother, and love you having you on here. And we love doing this. Okay. So guess what? Next week, we're going to have the head coach of San Jose State Spartans. Okay. And we're going to do that. And you guys are welcome to check in because this is GameFace. This is our new tagline, GameFace, Area Sports Magnified.